Hello, everyone. Raven fans, Oriole fans, especially today, you Oriole fans, this one is for you. So we are going to go over the MLB playoffs that are going on right now. We're going to about get started here today in a few minutes. So we're going to go ahead and get this popping and locking, as we used to say a long time ago. The dance was popping with lock, that's what we used to do, pop and lock. So we're going to get this playoff thing started. Obviously, as us as Oriole fans this year, much bigger than it's been because we are in the playoffs with the number one seed for the first time in a long time. We even as fans get to sit back and see who we're going to play because we don't even start here till the Saturday, I think it is. So definitely we're going to go ahead and get it going here. We're going to talk a lot about not just the Orioles in this one. We're going to talk about all the teams in the playoffs as well. Let's start with business. Genesis Notary Services is my notary business. Genesis Notary Service /Facebook.com. Definitely keep us in mind for that. If you live in the Shenandoah Valley, we will handle your documents with care. We come right out and we will notarize the documents, medical documents if you need that as well, or if you have any real estate documents or anything like that. Happy to go ahead and get that squared away for you. You can go to our site and buy our products, ravorisports.company.site. We'll definitely go ahead and get that taken care of. Definitely you can buy our Lamar jerseys, Ray Lewis jerseys, stuff like that, stuff like this Ravens jersey that we have right here, Ray Lewis 52. You can get that right on the site. This stuff is available right now. This is a medium, that's a large. So definitely we're gonna I've learned now, definitely we want to buy the large and extra large. Definitely jerseys. So definitely keep that in mind. Also too, today we're talking baseball, but also to going forward, we're gonna have our Maryland basketball preview November 6th. That is the night before the Terps season starts. All right. So let's get to it. Let's get popping and locking. Said popping and locking again. All right. So let's go ahead and check it out here with the MLB. So there we go. We're going to go ahead and check out who are the teams in the playoffs. Let's go ahead and start with the National League as well. Who are the teams and what are the matchups here? We're going to go through all the matchups here in the early rounds. So we're going to start with this wild card matchup that we're going to have here in the National League. So a big team this year that was a huge surprise was the Arizona Diamondbacks. Diamondbacks really were a team last year that, and like the Orioles, haven't been good really for several years, but their young players, I kind of said it when we started, that their young players possibly could come up this year and really become real studs. Manager Tony Lovato maybe the manager of the year in the National League. They're pretty good. Zach Gallen, I think, possibly is in the running for Cy Young in the National League. He has 17 wins. Merrill Kelly was outstanding as well. ERA less than 340, not as many wins. In the year, at Paul Sewald from the Seattle Mariners. So the one thing they didn't have earlier in the year is they had a closer. They didn't have a closer, so they got the Mariners closer. The Mariners kind of moved on from him, and they got him. That really helps them a lot. Corbin Carroll, probably. You're going to see Gunnar Henderson probably in the American League win the Cy Young Award, and Corbin Carroll possibly ran away with the National League. Basically, offensively, they're carried by Christian Walker as well. Had about 30 home runs as well. This team, I can say, though, this matchup in particular is going to be very fascinating because these are not teams that bludgeon you to death with the long ball. I mean, they have some guys here, but this is, you got the one team here. You got the Diamondbacks. Defensively, best fielding percentage in all of baseball. Offense, kind of middle in the pack. They do have the standouts there, but this is a team. You're going to have some low scoring stuff here. You don't want to underestimate these guys at all. I'm thinking about the Royals a few years ago. I think the last time the Orioles won the playoffs, we played Kansas City. It's like, man, they ain't got no home run hitters. They ain't got no. That's what this whole series is going to be. Two teams really of good quality as far as on the pitching side. Craig Counsell is going to lead the Brewers in this one. 23rd in batting average in the MLB, 24th in home runs. So again, not leading the league as far as in home runs and power stats or anything like that. Christian Yelich, former league MVP. I think he's on the downside. National League MVP, 19 home runs, 76 RBIs. Willie Adams, 24 home runs, 80 RBIs. How are they here? Low batting average numbers, things like that. How'd they get here? This is the best pitching staff ERA in all of baseball. They're led by Corbin Burns. Yes, Corbin Burns headed through the entire season as the ace. So Freddie Peralta is also really good. I think also, too, as good as those two starters are, I think this is probably the reason why they have the best ERA in all of baseball is their back end is fantastic. I think this is probably the only team with a better back end of the bullpen than the Orioles. Absolutely, they have the best back end of the bullpen. Devin Williams, maybe, again, you talk about Zach Gallen being in the right side of Alabama. So is Devin Williams, 36th day, Hobie Milner, Bryce Williams, Joe Pamps. Fantastic in the back end. All guys under 2.5 ERA, all throw a lot of heat. It's going to be tough for the Cardinal, for the Diamondbacks to win this series. This is a tough one to go. I think I do like the Diamondbacks in this one. I don't think the Brewers are going to hit enough. I don't think the Diamondbacks bludgeon you to death, but I really like their two main guys, Walker and Carroll, in this one. National League, probably the team most inexplicably in the playoffs, probably in terms of actual resume to get there, and also in terms of just where they come from in the last year. The Marlins, Skip Shoemaker is the manager. Last year they had Sandy Alcantara, who won the Cy Young. Kind of struggled a bit this year at times. He's still decent. Had a not as good a season at all. Jesus Luzardo is going to be there along with Braxton Garrett. They're in their rotation. On the back end for them, Tanner Scott. Yes, the same Tanner Scott that Orioles had in the 2020 season. So here's a guy who was just really a struggling pitcher, and now he's going to be their main guy on the back end here to try and get out a very, very, very good Phillies lineup here. Made it in on the last weekend. Marlins, I think they still out of bases. That's what the Marlins essentially are. They're a team that uses their speed essentially. Jorge Soler, 36 home runs, Luis Arias did not hit 400, 354. Brian De La Cruz hit about 78 RBIs. Not a ton of offense from them. They do have timely hitting. They're fourth MLB in batting average. Here's some names you know: Juan Segura, Josh Bell, Yuri Garrett. Why do they even matter? They're probably the guys on this team that have been there before, right? So when you have a team, a young team like this, having guys that have been there before really matters. So that's what the Marlins have, hanging their hats on these young guys. The Phillies. This is probably the most well-known team in probably this round. That's why the Foxes. That's why ESPN, ABC is showing this game at 8:00. Because the Phillies are here. Got some new teams here this year. We got no Yankees. We got no Dodgers. We got the Dodgers. But we got no Yankees. We got no Red Sox. We got no Cardinals. First time in a long time, none of those three teams are in. So the Phillies are the team probably that we know on a national level here. Phillies, Zach Wheeler and Aaron Nola, I thought on that World Series run really were the two main guys that really carried them. They were pretty good this year as well. I don't think they were quite as good. The good news is they had Taijuan Walker, who was really having a second career, really a prospect years ago. A lot of injuries. Then the last 2 years has really come to service. Had a good season coming from the Mets last year. He had 15 wins. I thought he was outstanding. Their back end guys are fantastic. Jose Alvarado, he throws just smoke, doesn't even say it. Man, times have changed. Used to be like I'm old enough to remember like a Rob Dibble and the Nasty Boys. When I used to have guys, Rob Dibble would get it around 100 miles an hour. He's pretty much like one of the few guys in the league, or around his Chapman. Now you got guys all over the place throwing 100 miles an hour. These two guys will certainly do. Alvarado, it depends on, they kind of both share the closer role. I really tried to pin it down, like who has the closer role. Kimbrel is more well known, obviously, but he's like 35 now. They kind of both share. I think I've seen some games where they use Kimbrel. I think more often than not, I think they use Kimbrel, but they use both guys. I don't think one guy's a setup guy and one guy is a closer. We'll see how they use them in the actual playoffs now that they're actually here. Kyle Schwarber is God bless him. God bless him. 47 home runs, 104 RBIs, hit 197. How in the world did he do that? How in God's name do you hit almost 50 home runs and not hit 200? This has kind of been Kyle Schwarber his whole career. The most unique guy. He knows he hits the ball out the park. He doesn't really have a position. He plays outfield, a lot of DH with him. Very interesting. Kyle Schwarber, his whole career has been. Trey Turner was getting booed a lot by Philly. Now, it is Philly. I mean, the Philly fans are just ridiculously rude. But overall, 26-76, 26 home runs. Overall, decent enough year. A lot of money they spent. JT Realmuto kind of slipped. Maybe last year, he's the best catcher in baseball. Slipped down a little bit, but 21 home runs, 73 RBIs, 293 average. Bryce Harper playing first base in a bunch of games this year. They absolutely go as he goes. This team goes as I've seen it for the last couple of years with them. They pretty much go as Bryce Harper goes. Bryce Harper plays well. Bryce Harper gets them going. Bryce Harper is the emotional leader. Then the Phillies win. Bryce Harper has a slow start, or he's injured, or he's out. They don't win. I think they win in this series regardless. I think the talent gap is just too big for that. Winning 3 road games in Philly, I can't see the Marlins doing that. And that is the case, too. You mentioned that. In this round, they're all in one city. So when you're doing these games, okay, so right in this, right, the Rangers are going to play in Tampa 3 games. The next round, they'll alternate cities. So 3 straight games in one city for the road team, just like a series like would be during the season. Wild card round. So we got the Rangers. Now we're going to shift to the American League. The Texas Rangers, 3 to the post, really like this. So they were survived, eliminating the Mariners on the last weekend. They go ahead, survive, get to the wild card round, play against probably the best team, absolutely not in the wild card round, the Tampa Bay Rays. Tampa won 98 games, I think it was, and still couldn't share the East of the best record. They're fantastic as well. The Rangers. I really like the Bruce Bochy signing all summer long. Bruce Bochy, I think, was one of the better managers with the Giants. You can see now they've got rid of Gabe Kapler. I love Bruce Bochy as a manager. Very old school. Teams finds a way to win. He kind of reminds me of Jimmy Wheelan. Finds a way to have that success. Even with trying circumstances this year, like Jacob deGrom was supposed to be the big free agent signing coming over for the Mets. Max Scherzer was a big free agent signing, was a big trade at the end of the year, getting the war daddy Max Scherzer. And neither one of these guys is going to pitch in the postseason, and they're still here. You got Dane Dunning with 12 wins, Andrew Haney, Nelson Faldy, Jordan Montgomery, Martin Perez, all with 10+ wins. So they didn't have these guys, outstanding aces guy, but they had depth of the rotation. That goes to how good of a manager I think Bruce Bochy has been. Like that, no closer. They go ahead. Will Smith comes out $1.5 million a year. They go ahead and get him from a different team. He goes out and gets 22 saves. That was outstanding stuff for Will Smith. Marcus Semien is one of the best players in baseball that nobody ever mentions in the elite category. He was fantastic all year long. I love Marcus Semien as a player. Corey Seager, Josh Jung, Joel Steinheim, maybe the only catcher in the American League on par with Adley Rutschman. Alos Garcia, 39 home runs, 107 RBIs. This team really knows how to hit. They led the American League in batting average. They're very well rounded. Inconsistent at times. I saw it during the year. I think considering all those things, they kind of had funks that were just inexplicable rather at times. So you're leading the American League batting average, your home runs, you're finding a way to get pitching, and you're still in 5th. So that's the only concern with them. The Rays, Kevin Cash. I love Kevin Cash. These manager matchup, I love Kevin Cash. As same thing like what we said with Bruce Bochy. What he's been able to do in Tampa with not a lot has been fantastic. So that's a good thing to see that he's been doing so well as a manager all these years. Now you kind of think of the Rays as a team with just the pitching and the resources and nobody goes and all that other stuff. This team hits big time. 3rd in the league in the batting average, 6th in home runs, 4th in stolen bases. So they score. This is not a team that doesn't score. They had a guy, Shane McClanahan, I think, he's in the running for Cy Young. But of course, he has the 2 lousy words, Tommy John. So he's not going to win the Cy. He's not going to be participating at all. They did in the offseason sign Zach Eflin, who was an outstanding signing for him, won 16 games. Tyler Glasnow won 10 games. 25 saves from Pete Fairbanks. He was fantastic. Pete Fairbanks is I know a lot of these guys throw 100 miles an hour, but man, I'd hate to stand in the batter's box with him there, looking at him the way he pitches. That's something. Yandy Diaz, Isaac Perez, Josh Lowe, they're going to hit more than I think people think. I'm going to take them. It's hard not to go with the team when they win so many games, when they it's hard not to take a team and win so many games. On paper, they should not be beating they should not be beating the Rangers. But I mean, going by what I saw this year, you got to go with the Rangers. Absolutely, you got to go with the Rays to actually win this series. We got one more here. So we got the Blue Jays playing the Minnesota Twins. The Minnesota Twins, the default winners, you could might as well say, of the AL Central that nobody wanted to win. Blue Jays finished third in the AL East, even though they had a great season. They won 90 games, I believe it was. So they are outstanding as well. Blue Jays, I think the thing with them, they did good teams a lot. That was the only thing. When they played the Rays, the Orioles, the really good teams, they kind of didn't do well as well. So that'll be interesting to see how this goes. Blue Jays, John Snyder is the manager for them. Their starting rotation is really good. Chris Bassett won 16 games. Former Oriole Kevin Gausman won 12 games. Jose Barrios, not quite a great season. Yusei Kikuchi, the left-hander, won 11 games. The starting rotation is pretty good. Jordan Romero, I think, probably won't be in the side conversation in a year where we don't have a lot of great pitchers in that conversation. But I thought he's really good, really throws hard. Their pitching is really, I think this is definitely why here. Why didn't they finish third in the division? Obviously, the Orioles are really good. Obviously, Vladdy kind of down year for his standards, 26 and 94, not bad. Bo Bichette, I thought was good. I think he got hurt in the middle of the year. Merrifield had like 26 steals. Matt Chapman, Dalton Varsho, pretty good, really good. But I don't think they kind of at times fell asleep at times. Again, kind of like with the Rangers, inexplicably, you don't beat good teams. When you're elite and you're ready to win the World Series, you can beat these good teams. They are kind of remind me a little bit of the Phillies though last year. They could make a run. It wouldn't shock me that they make a run, but I think a lot of inconsistency, I think, at times as far as beating the elite teams. And that the Twins won the division by default. The secret is with the Twins that they actually – the secret with the Twins is they actually got better during the course of the year. For whatever reason. Now, I don't know. It could have been just the division was bad, but they did – they won by pretty much there over the Guardians in second. Pablo Lopez was probably the best pitcher during the course of the year. The rotation is actually better than you think. Not a ton of wins, but Sonny Gray and Joe Ryan are also really good. Johan Duran, I thought, 100-mile-an-hour splitter stuff. Fantastic from Duran. I'm a big closer guy. That's the one position I definitely he's like who is a great closer. Orioles great closer. Duran it was really a joy to watching this. Royce Lewis had a good year rookie. Michael Taylor, that was about it on offense. It's going to be the down. They really need Carlos Correa, who had some injuries this year, Brian Buxton, to really have good playoffs if they want any shot. 21st in batting average in the league. They do hit the long ball. I actually like the Blue Jays in this series, even though they got to play on the road. I don't think the Twins are going to have enough to beat the Blue Jays and that good pitching. I don't think that's going to be the case. Two teams in the National League as well. So we got the So two teams in the National League we got here. These two teams are not in the opening round. They have the bye because they have the best records in the National League. The LA Dodgers, the perennial teams, and the Atlanta Braves are here in the first round. Dodgers, I think the stats say they're as good. I'm not seeing it on the field for whatever reason. I think, look, Betts was fantastic this year. Mookie Betts was fantastic this year. Freddie Freeman was fantastic this year. We know that. Clayton Kershaw is now 35 years old. He was still outstanding. I thought he carried him. I really like young Bobby Miller. One of their other stars. I was really impressed with him. They did go out and get Lance Lynn as well. The back end, Dave Roberts, I've kind of seen this for years with him. He kind of doesn't have a closer. He kind of uses certain guys different times. Ever since Kenley Jansen's been gone. They won 100 games. They hit the ball a lot. They had three guys. I mean, they had Max Muncy had over 30 home runs. I think JD Martinez, pleasant surprise. I thought he did better than I thought. They won 100 games. Here's the thing with them. I don't think anybody's going to beat them in this early round, except maybe Philadelphia. So I think if they play in it, I think if they're going to play any of those other teams, I think they're pretty good to actually go ahead and win it. The Diamondbacks and the Brewers, I don't see them beating. I don't see them beating. I don't see them beating the Dodgers. Although the Dodgers. Look, not to nitpick a team with a 100 games, but they're not. I don't think they're as good as they were in years past. I think they lead in every statistical category. They may have the MVP, Ronald Acuna. Just run down the names. Austin Riley's fantastic. Sean Murphy was fantastic. Ozzy Albies is fantastic. 1 to 9, I think they're fantastic. I don't think there's anything there where they wouldn't win. One best record in all of baseball, statistical, easy best team in all of baseball in terms of the regular season. It goes National American League, our league. Let's talk about the Astros. Astros were pretty daggone good during the year. I would say this, kind of like I said, the Blue Jays was something off. The Astros looked a little low from them in years past. You got a lot of names we know. Obviously, this team won the World Series a couple times in recent years. Alex Bergman is there. Jose Altuve is there. Yordan Alvarez was fantastic this year. Jose Abreu was picked up. He was really good. A bit of a slow start. I think the two best players now are Jeremy Pena, who had an outstanding season, and young Kyle Tucker. This is one of my favorite non-Orioles. He's fantastic. A lot of times his name isn't mentioned in the elite category. I think it's only a matter of time before it is. Certainly, if they can win it this year, he's going to be in that category. They did go out and get Justin Verlander for the trade deadline. They're outstanding. Their pitching is really good. I would say, though, they kind of slumped towards the finish a bit compared to, and there's something off. Like I said all that, and then I look at them, and it was pretty close with Texas. It was pretty close with Texas, the Rangers, or a team who, who wasn't any good. I mean, they improved by a whole lot of games. The Mariners with almost no offense. You figure with all that, they went ahead. They would go ahead and win by more, but they didn't. But again, West was pretty tough. That could have been all it was. And your Baltimore Orioles. Orioles were easily the best team in the American League. I think there is no question about it. They're going to have the number one seed. About it. Here's the thing. Even I, as an Oriole fan and an Oriole watching them all year, talked about how bad their pitching was or the concern down the stretch. Guess what? The miracle happened. You got a strong rotation now for this pitching. Kyle Bradish was outstanding. Dean Kramer was better and better during the course of the year. Grayson Rodriguez actually might be is absolutely developing. You got John Means back at the tail end. Wow. I think like that. Offensively, now I would say the one thing they don't have is they don't have a Kyle Tucker on the team. They don't have a Mookie Betts on their team. They don't have a real mega stud offensively. But I think like if you go up and down the batting order, not a lot of time off there. Cedric Mullins has been to the All-Star. Cedric Mullins has been an All-Star. Adley's been an All-Star. Santander, I think, led the league and led the team again in home runs and RBIs for 2 straight years. They have an outstanding balanced lineup. They hit a whole lot, and they do that. Even what's impressive now, the bullpen, the back end of it is the back end of the bullpen was more of a strength. Obviously, without Felix Bautista, he's going to be out with Tommy John surgery. But Yadier Cano has been fantastic. No question about him going to be leading at the back end. I would say Brandon Hyde seems to be the Orioles manager, seems to be leaning towards a committee. I'm not as big on that, but I think that's the way it's going to go, especially in the playoffs. You kind of play everything by feel. You're just trying to win one game at a time. So we're hoping the Orioles can go ahead and get that squared away. Orioles, the number 1 seed in all of baseball, in all the American League. So let's take a look at that. All right, get them on screen here. So Orioles, here for the first time in a long time. Really looking forward to going ahead and seeing these playoff games that start here very soon today. I think a lot of the teams in the American League, it's a lot tougher, I think, than the National League. I think the 2 teams, the Braves and the Dodgers, really stand out in the National League to me. I think the Phillies do have a shot. They're kind of where they were last year. I think they have a good, easy first-round opponent, as easy as you can get from a playoff team. But you never know. You never know how this is going to go. We are absolutely going in. I'm not making a prediction in the American League because we are rooting for your Baltimore Orioles to go ahead and win the American League pennant, American League title, and go ahead and actually play in the World Series. All right. So thank you very much for joining us here for our Orioles playoff preview. We will go ahead and get that squared away for you. Our regular podcast is going to drop on Wednesday night at 8 o'clock. We will go ahead and see you then, talk a little Ravens football. It's Steelers week, so we'll go ahead and go over that as well. Thank you very much for joining us. You have a great rest of your day.